I refused to pay extra for my friend's bachelorette trip, the bridal party got upset.
Well, tell them to F off.
My friend Shay, 27-year-old female, is getting married in November. I, 23-year-old female, met her at work about 2.5 years ago, and we've gotten pretty close recently. By the way, this comes from user LadyTiger02, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit and submit them there. So, once she got engaged, she picked about 6 bridesmaids. She didn't pick me to be a bridesmaid, which was totally cool. We were close, but not bridesmaid close. Shay and I still hung out a lot, so she invited me and a few more of our coworkers, Alana and Sandy, who were also not bridesmaids, to the bachelorette trip. Shay, Alana, Sandy, and I were all pretty close, and we were excited about the trip. Shay eventually started a group chat with the bridesmaids, my coworkers, and I to start planning the trip. It should be noted that Shay had both a matron of honor and a maid of honor. The group chat informed that we'd be going on a carnival cruise in the summer. My friend Shay has been in deep debt since I've known her and finances just about everything. She asks if anyone would like to share a drink package, basically meaning only a few of us would actually have the drink package, and we just sneak our drinks to the girls who don't have one. The idea was that we'd all pay equal amounts and just split up the drinks. I personally have been on a few cruises, and I enjoy having my own drink pack. Carnival specifically frowns upon sharing a drink pack and will cut you off and make your drink pack non-refundable. Call me a rule follower, but I just did not want the extra stress of doing that. I figured Alana, Sandy, and I would just share a room as the non-bridesmaids and all buy the drink package. The 3 of us had communicated this ahead of time amongst ourselves. Naturally, the maid and matron of honor make a group chat with everyone but Shay to discuss the more intimate details. The matron of honor suggests that everyone sends $100 towards Shay's portion of the trip so that it could be entirely paid for. The maid of honor agrees, and maybe 1 or 2 of the bridesmaids that aren't going on the trip say they'll contribute in other ways or send a bit of money. Otherwise, the chat was pretty silent. Why don't we all try that? Send into your group chat. Everybody send me $100 right now and I'll make us all a party.
Yeah.
See how fast no one responds. I call my girls, Alana and Sandy, and ask their thoughts on the extra money. The 3 of us all admit that it feels a bit awkward contributing the extra money. Alana and Sandy are both in a financial tight spot, and it was a big deal they were able to go to begin with. I am in a more financially secure position, but still felt out of place contributing while not being in the bridal party.
Yeah.
Exactly. After about a day of the chat being silent, the maid of honor reached out to be direct. I get a text from her that says she thought she'd ask me separately about the $100 contribution, with the group chat being so quiet. I talk it over with my coworkers who never got a message from the maid of honor, and after getting permission from Sandy and Alana, I respond telling her that the $100 contribution is a lovely idea for the bridal party, but I felt out of place and that us coworkers weren't really in a position to offer the extra money. The maid of honor sends me an incredibly passive-aggressive text back.
Goodness.
She tells me that because I signed up to go on Shay's bachelorette party, that it's part of my responsibility to make sure it's a special moment for her, and that I need to contribute in any way that I can. Is my presence not your present?
Yeah.
Hello?
It's frustrating that, like, after the fact, after everyone was already kind of on board to go, they've made this new contribution kind of mandatory.
You know, you're kind of getting strong-armed.
Yeah.
Here.
Like, you can't be like, oh, if anyone wants to contribute, and then get mad at people when they don't want to.
She ends this message saying, I'm not trying to pressure anyone, but I expect anyone who signed up to go pitch in some shape or form to help cover Shay and make it a memorable occasion for her. Shortly after her private interaction with me, the maid of honor sends to the group chat another message saying, I absolutely do not expect everyone to pay towards Shay's trip right now or to pay the $100 mentioned above. I do expect anyone coming to pitch something towards her trip in some way prior to leaving. This can be $10 or $50 or a random $5 bill to match your Starbucks order when you have it. Please keep in mind it doesn't have to be now, but we want to celebrate Shay as much as possible, and that includes covering her expenses as much as we can.
Okay, this is how she could have asked if she wanted that. if she wanted people to actually give money, she could have said first, and before she sent any of those messages, she just sends to the group chat, hey, I thought it would be a nice idea if we helped out with Shay's costs.
Right.
If you want to donate anything, if you want to chip in, let me know. No worries if not.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Make it special. Not like everyone.
If you don't donate, you're the worst. And then like throwing out like, oh, and you're going to get a $5 Starbucks order, so you might as well help Shay.
Yeah. Just weird. Shortly after that message, Alana speaks up about how she doesn't feel comfortable giving the $100 towards Shay's portion, and the group chat shifts again. Both the maid of honor and the matron of honor send super long texts with phrases like, usually the bride's expenses covered on these trips. From the experiences I've had, I knew that when accepting the invitation to go. Regardless, the rest of us will be stepping up to cover whatever we can. It isn't easy on any of us either. I'm not going to keep beating the topic of money, only the expectations I have on those who want to join a trip to celebrate a bride, not a vacation.
Dude, I would like not go on this trip.
We all decided that this trip was something we chose to do to celebrate Shay. With that being said, this is not a selfish vacation. If you can afford a drink package, you can certainly afford to aid in the expenses of Shay's way. I have not planned on asking anyone for money for goodie bags or swag bags. But if Shay cannot be celebrated appropriately, then I don't feel that it's appropriate that the maid of honor and I eat that entire expenditure. And I will be expecting everyone to join in paying for that or opting out of receiving that. That being the swag, decor, or favors for the duration of the trip. Should it amount to over 100 or more, so the reason we budgeted for this amount towards Shay was so we could afford the other favors. I do believe that as a friend, this is not a large ask. It is mind-blowing to me that this conversation is even a topic. The audacity of enjoying the celebration of a true friend, but prioritizing booze over a friend is quite baffling. The drink packages don't have to be paid until the time of trip, so therefore there's plenty of time to prepare for that payment. I am extremely saddened as a friend, a mother, a sister, and wife, meaning I have been the bride, that I have to even address this with other women.
Oh my God.
Guess who's not going on the trip anymore?
I literally
Me.
would not go on the trip,
Are you
and I would
kidding?
tell the bride like, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling super comfortable anymore. Not anything you did.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
Not anything you did. It was your bridesmaids.
It was your bridesmaids.
It was your maid of honor and
Yeah.
matron of honor
Yeah.
trying to hustle everybody for $100 to pay for you.
And then being like, oh, you don't have to, but we're going to make you feel bad.
Yeah, you don't have to, but we're going to literally make you feel like scum. The tone of the entire group chat has shifted. It's pretty much a stalemate from the awkward conversations. At this point, there has been a few girls in the chat who have been entirely silent, yet all of the message seemed directed towards my coworkers and I for speaking up. And by the way, you can speak up on the fact that there are full episodes with stories like this at your fingertips. Just go to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Search OK Storytime. And it's as simple as that. Then you get the whole
It's right freaking there.
the whole kit. You've got the kit and the caboodle.
Got the whole world.
You put them together. You got the whole world in your hands. So we have a little more here. I mean, let's just finish it off, shall we? At this point, everything is so tense, I'm debating not even going. That's our idea. That's what I would do.
That's what I said.
That's what we're going to do if we were you. Even if I pay the extra money at this point, it's noticeably awkward and uncomfortable. I know someone has shared something with Shay because she keeps apologizing to me personally for the tension in the chat, though she claims she's unsure what's happening. So, am I the a-hole for not paying for the bride? No.
Those
No.
matron and the maid of honor are the a-holes. And they need to stay in their lane.
Yeah, these people are literally ruining her bachelorette trip by
Yeah.
making everybody not want
Hate
to go.
them. Literally, if I was the bride and I found out that a bunch of people decided not to come to my bachelorette trip because my maid or matron of honor or whatever
Yeah.
bullied them about money, I'd be like, dudes, what's your deal?
Yeah.
Chill out, my guy.
There's some people who just don't have any chill. We have some
True.
comments. Comment number 1. I think you will do yourself a big favor if you bow out of this trip. There will be drama and lots of it if you go. Reply, this 1,000,000%. Get the other 2 friends and go on your own trip and have a fabulous time without stress. There's another comment. I would pass on the trip simply because it's too awkward now, which is what we've been saying. I also think this is too much money for someone else's celebration. I don't necessarily think that's true, but it's more the principle. I am willing to cover a fancy dinner for the bride, but not the entire cruise. Reply, covering the entire trip is asking way too much. When people talk about wedding culture getting out of control, they mean behavior like this. If money is tight, then maybe they should have a more reasonable celebration.
That's
Boom.
what I'm saying.
Exactly. Reply, exactly. Because on top of this, a wedding gift will be expected, along with the cost of the dress and the shoes. It can get crazy expensive. I think the maid of honor should have planned an evening's entertainment, not a cruise. No, I don't think you're the a-hole. I think Shay invited extra girls so there would be extra people to chip in some money for Shay. I don't think I would go on the trip. If you haven't booked your tickets yet, I would say something like, when I looked at my finances to do my taxes, I realized I really shouldn't do this right now, and bow out. Reply, I couldn't agree more. You're being used as an automated teller machine, and that's why that passive-aggressive crap happened. She doesn't want to pay for it, and she's pissed that she will have to, hence the guilt trip on you and your friends. And that, my friends, is the end of that story.
And there you go. And I'm seeing some people in the chat saying that in previous weddings that they've been in, they've like paid for the bachelorette party. But I think that's a good point because it's the bachelorette party versus a trip. Like
Right.
those are huge different like cost
Bachelorette
expenses.
party versus cruise,
Yeah.
and then all
The
that
whole
it entails.
cruise.
So
That at least is my opinion. I think it's a little silly to expect people to pay for an entire trip for someone.
yeah, it's like, I don't know, like imagine like planning a destination trip wedding to like Fiji,
Yeah,
and
you're
then being like, by the
"Everyone
way,
who comes has to pay for it.
yeah, I can't afford any of this, so you
Yeah.
guys are all gonna have to pitch in, and if you
Yeah.
don't, then you all hate me and aren't my real friends.
Yeah.
And the wedding's canceled. Thanks, you ruined it.
Thanks, you've
Thanks
ruined my
so
life.
much.
I hope you're all
You ruined it.
satisfied. I hope you're all happy, ruining my life forever.